Right. Well, beautiful people of the world, good morning. Bom dia, as the Brazilians would say, and welcome to the World Climate Summit and the Investment COP 2025. We finally made it to Brazil.
All the way here.
All the way here to Brazil. My name is Matsi Mudise. I am the Africa lead for the World Climate Foundation, and I am going to be your proud master of ceremony with my friend Peter Boyd.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Peter Boyd. I'm the founder and CEO of Time for Good and resident fellow at the Yale Center of Business and Environment. And I'll be over in the Investment COP, which is down the stairs and up into the next building.
But trust me, Peter will show you the way.
I will.
So you'll figure it out. He will show you the way. But Peter, before we start our program, I thought it would be good for me to bring everybody into the room, everybody into Belém, everybody into the Amazon by reading a poem about the Amazon. I hope you'll enjoy it. The mighty river, a lifetime of dreams. Through the heart of the Amazon, it streams. From distant mountains to the vast sea, its current flows with untamed glee. It weaves its course through ancient lands, carving tales in shifting sands, witnessing tribes, cultures, and lure as it journeys forevermore. Its surface mirrors the azure sky, where tokens soar and dolphins fly. Amidst the caimans and pink dolphins dance, a symphony of life, a wild romance. O river of dreams, untamed and free, you hold the secrets of eternity. Your waters whisper secrets untold to those who listen, to the brave and to the bold. Welcome to the Amazon.
Beautiful. And do you want some more local stories to bring us in?
Please do share.
For those that can see that these chairs are more colorful than your chairs, this is actually probably a fantastic symbol of the work that the World Climate Foundation has been doing for over a year and a half to get to this day. Partnering with over 30 local vendors and an amazing nonprofit called, and I've got to read it here, Depois da Maré. And these chairs are artisanally built from boats that used to be boats left by the tide, hence the translation of the NGO, after the tides. So you'll see that there's beautiful furniture here. Over in the other place, there's a fantastic drinking venue at the very top with all this furniture, but afterwards it will be donated back to the local community. So that idea that we're here, we appreciate what's here, and then we hopefully leave a positive legacy behind, I think continues. So that is so exciting to do that with the World Climate Foundation. If you don't want to hear me murdering Portuguese non-profits again, and you are of different languages, we have headsets in both venues. So if you are a Portuguese speaker and want to get a translation, they're there for you one way, and then obviously the other way. Some of the speeches in here will be in Portuguese, so if you are an English speaker, it's worth getting a headset for later on in the day.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So, Peter, let's begin the show.
Let's do it.
Very excited. And yes, you're more than welcome to give a hand of applause. Great. And on that note, I am so happy and excited to welcome the founder and the CEO of the World Climate Foundation, Mr. Jens Nielsen, who's going to do the opening address. Welcome, Jens.
Good morning, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Great. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the World Climate Summit and the Investment COP here at COP30 in Belém. It's wonderful to see you all. This is a very important moment as we open 2 days of collaboration, investment, and delivery. Let me go back in history, in our own history. When we started the World Climate Summit in 2009, our mission was clear. We wanted to build a bridge between policy, innovation, and capital, and between ambition and implementation. At that time, climate action was still seen mainly as a responsibility and work of the governments. Our goal was to create a platform where business, finance, government, and civil society could work together to accelerate real solutions. Moving forward, in 2015, we all know the Paris Agreement was adopted and became a turning point on climate change. For the first time in history, every country agreed to a shared framework for climate action. 195 countries signed the Paris Agreement. It was a moment of unity and optimism. Paris did not solve the crisis, but it changed the way we think. It showed that climate change is not only an environmental challenge. The years that followed became the decade of mobilization. Climate became universal. We have seen extraordinary shifts. Country ambitions have moved down to between 2.4 and 2.7 degrees. This is really, I think, a remarkable result from the Paris Agreement. Trillions of dollars in assets have been aligned with net zero goals. Thousands of companies have set science-based targets. Cities and investors have stepped up to lead where policy alone could not. Climate action has moved from the margins to the mainstream and from idealism to investment. Now, as we gather here in Berlin in 2025, we enter the defined decade of implementation. This is a time when ambition must become action. The world needs systems that can turn vision into real results, finance that can flow where it's needed, innovation that can scale, and partnerships that can last. Over the next decade, our task is to focus on implementation through design. We need to build transition structures that connect policy, finance, and innovation across key areas such as energy, nature, food, industry, and cities. The challenge is really not so much to make new commitments, but to make the commitments we already have work. This means changing the way we think and act. We need to move from single projects to larger portfolios of investable opportunities. We need to balance the focus on net zero with a stronger and larger focus on resilience, transition, and opportunities, so that organizations and societies can adapt and thrive. We need to move from isolated efforts to broader coalitions that bring together governments, investors, and innovators across sectors and regions. At the World Climate Foundation, through the World Climate Summit and the Investment Cup, we are working to make that happen. Our aim is to build a global platform for coordination and co-investment. Together, we can make the economics of climate change the central agenda of this decade. This proves that sustainability is not a cost, but a driver of future growth. The discussions we begin today are closely aligned with the priorities of the COP30 Action Agenda. Over the next 2 days, we will explore how finance, innovation, and partnerships can accelerate delivery and turn global goals into real impact on the ground. Throughout this summit, we'll hear inspiring examples of leadership, innovation, and collaboration. We'll see how climate action is becoming more inclusive, more investable, and more effective. And we will identify the partnerships and mechanisms that can help scale progress well beyond COP30. So as we look to the years ahead, let this summit be a collective push for implementation. Let it be a moment when we work together to make this a decade of delivery, the decade of climate action, and a decade that transforms the economics of climate change to a positive force. Thank you for your leadership, thank you for your partnership, and thank you for your commitment to turning action into impact and promises into progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jens. By the way, he is my boss. And he's built such a fantastic foundation for climate and nature conversations and climate action. So we are very, very grateful to you, Jens. Well, on to our next keynote address. I would have the pleasure and the honor of inviting Marina Cançado, I hope I'm saying it well, who's the founder of Converge's Capital. Marina, welcome to the stage.
Bom dia. Good morning. Brazil, as a Brazilian, I have been for the last 15 years contributing to build the finance, nature, climate, sustainable finance ecosystem in Brazil. So for me, it's an honor to be here and co-host with the World Climate Foundation, the Investment COP. As you know, last year we reached a bit more than $2 trillion invested in the climate transition, but only $100 billion in Latin America, and most of that in Brazil. And if we look deeper, 60% go into energy and transportation, where we need money flowing to nature-based solutions, the transformation of the agriculture, and so many solutions. So the Investment COP is an invite, not only to discuss how we are going to increase the finance, but how we are going to distribute better, make finance, investments, capital flow more equally around the different regions, and also flow to the solutions that are most cost-effective and are the solutions that can most contribute to mitigation, like nature-based solutions. And especially being here in Brazil, Brazil is, as you know, the powerhouse of nature-based solutions, and we will have a lot of sessions during the Investment COP showing that and showing the opportunities. So the Investment COP today is an invite to not only participate of panels and discussions, but going into the details, have insights about the innovations that we need to put together in this implementation decade to drive investments to the global south and to the most important solutions like nature-based solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marina, and bom dia. I'm starting to learn the way of Brazil. It's a good way, it's a slow way. Everybody's calm, and it's just such a pleasure to be able to experience the different cultures. Well, I have the honor of presenting the next keynote, and it's going to be pre-recorded, and that is by Mr. Chang-Ken, who is the president of Cathay Financial Holdings. It's going to be pre-recorded, but also it's important for us to acknowledge that we have the wonderful Mr. Michael Wen, who is the Executive Vice President of Cathay Holdings and Financial Holdings, and he is with us today. Mr. Wen, would you like to just stand up and show yourself to everybody? But for now, we will do the pre-recorded message by Mr. Chang-Ken, who is the President of Cathay Financial Holdings.
Good morning, distinguished guests. I am CKD, President of Cathay Financial Holdings from Taiwan. I am honored to participate in the World Climate Summit. Cathay Financial Holdings serves 63% of Taiwan's population. We operate across more than 10 countries in Asia, and we are a leader in green finance and climate actions. I am so happy to see our efforts are recognized by the world. Today, I will focus on how we can accelerate climate actions, which is the most important reason why we are here today. Extreme weather, water scarcity, floods, and heat waves are damaging our environment, our health, and our daily life. These challenges are also widening social and economic disparities. And most critically, they impact communities in the global south, those who emit the least but suffer the most. We need a greater resource mobilization to meet the Paris Agreement goals. We still face a multi-trillion-dollar funding gap. This is warning we cannot ignore. We all agree that the cost of inaction will only increase, and we must act quickly to accelerate the transition. Despite these challenges, I have seen important trends that actually give us hope for the opportunities. First, sustainable capital is on the rise. Investors seeking opportunities that balance long-term growth with climate and nature values. According to UNEP, private finance for nature has surged to over $102 billion. Yet as the funding gap persists, there remains tremendous potential for more stakeholders to join. Second, industry are breaking through. Even traditional hard-to-abate sectors like steel, cement, and automotive are implementing real decarbonization projects. Third, new business models are emerging. Regenerative agriculture, circular supply chains, and blended finance are proving innovative concepts and successful stories. We have seen many cases from the World Bank's Rhino Bond pay-for-success model to recently the Force Biodiversity Bond, not to mention green bonds and other sustainability-linked fundings. We have seen enough cases and must scale up. Lastly, voices from the Global South are growing stronger. From Amazon governance in Brazil to community finance in Africa to blue bonds in Southeast Asia, these examples showcase that the Global South is not just a recipient, but also a pioneer. If the past decade since the Paris Agreement marked an historical era of commitment, the next decade should be defined by implementation. It's important to ensure real transformation across industries and supply chains. Financial institutions must go beyond funding. We should help projects become bankable and investable, accelerate breakthrough in decarbonization technologies, innovative business models, and sustainable finance solutions. We should also bring nature into the heart of the economy, because without a thriving ecosystem, human survival and economic stability are at risk. Cathay Financial Holdings has contributed to more than $50 billion in green finance, infrastructure, inclusive finance, and water-related financing. We also lead in many investor engagement programs, including Climate Action 100+, CDP Non-Disclosure Campaign, TCFD, TNFD, Building Water Finance Initiative, and Business for Nature. We believe the power of finance can be a strong force to accelerate climate transition. Besides funding, Cathay Financial Holdings has also identified the importance of empowerment. We sponsor ABPN's new platform, the Asia Clean Energy Transition Initiative, and also sponsor many projects, including Impact Investment Campus Tour and Green Transition Solutions Campaign. By supporting these initiatives, we can build a strong ecosystem connecting present and future actors. It is very rewarding seeing our efforts making real impacts, and we will continue to strive at our best. Lastly, I'd like to highlight the importance of readiness and leverage. I come from Taiwan, which is very famous for its achievements in the semiconductor industry. There is a Moore's law in the semiconductor technology migration. The theory says strong market demand and expanding application can drive massive investment in R&D, which pushes the number of transistors per unit space double every 2 years. The contribution of R&D is meaningless without aggressive growth in commercial application. Similarly, we have seen enough sample solutions, which will be meaningless if we don't have ambition to make them into big-scale, commercial, bankable, and investable. We believe it's time to create what I call a Moore's law for climate and nature. As we stand at the crossroads of climate and ecological emergency, incremental change is not longer enough. We need to act fast. We can together drive a transition that accelerates our path toward just and effective net zero future. From Berlin, let us carry this momentum back to our home countries, industries, and business strategies. When the next heat wave strikes, when floods return, when food and water are again under pressure, may we be able to say, we did not just see the problem, we place the solutions where they are needed the most. I look forward to walking this path of sustainability with all of you. Thank you. Obrigado.
Wonderful. On to our next, and very excited to be able to introduce His Excellency Mukhtar Babayev, who is the COP29 President and Special Representative of the President of Azerbaijan for Climate Issues. Welcome, His Excellency.
Bom dia, dear friends, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy to have the chance to be with you, all of you, because it is not the first for me not the first speech and not the first participation in such meetings organized by this organization, the Climate Foundation, here, in other places, in UK and other countries. And we are very happy to cooperate with you, Niels, you are here, and Jens and other, your colleagues are very active in all these programs. And our team is planning to continue this work in future. That's why we are very welcome here. We have spent the last 10 years of the COP process agreeing the framework for our response to the climate crisis. And at the COP29 in Baku, we finally closed the Paris rule book. Now, COP must evolve. We are in the decade of delivery. The people in this room are vital to making that happen. We will create the solutions we need, and we will deliver and scale them. That's why the work of the World Climate Foundation is so important. They work tirelessly to bring people together and to push them towards higher ambition and more decisive action. So I would like to thank them for hosting all of us today. We all know that investment in climate action needs to scale up rapidly and that it needs to be distributed more fairly, because a decade of delivery cannot happen without means of implementation. This issue was at the heart of the COP29 presidency worked last year. First, we broke the deadlock of high-integrity carbon markets under the United Nations. These markets could be worth up to $1 trillion per year by 2050. This will unlock a new wave of funding for projects in developing countries. The framework for these markets has been built. Now we urge government and businesses to use it. We also landed the Baku finance goal, our landmark deal. Donors agreed to mobilize $300 billion per year in the climate finance for the developing world. This is the largest financial commitment ever made in UN climate process. It is more than a number. It is a signal to developing countries that they will get the support they need in taking ambitious climate action. But that signal will only work in there is a confidence that donors will deliver on their promises. COP30 is a vital chance to provide this certainty. That's why we are asking donors to confirm that they will honor their promises, that they will double adaptation finance by the end of this year, that we will triple the outflow of UNFCCC funds by 2030, and that each donor will deliver their fair share of the $300 billion by 2035. Finally, we also agreed on a wider goal to scale up climate finance from all sources to $1.3 trillion per year. This is a goal that is most relevant to everyone in this room. The COP29 and COP30 presidencies were tasked with drawing the roadmap of how we would get there. We published the roadmap to 1.3 trillion last week. It identifies actions to strengthen capacity in developing countries, make capital flows more equitable, and mobilize transformative private climate finance. And it addresses thematic priorities, including adaptation, the energy transition, agriculture, nature, and the just transition. Critically, it shows that it is possible to scale climate finance to 1.3 trillion. But it will require political will and action from every stakeholder. We received over 200 submissions to our consultations on the roadmap. Their suggestions and insights were vital in informing our work. That's why we have also created a catalog of key ideas, initiatives, and instruments referenced in these submissions. There will be useful case studies as people work to implement the roadmap. And that is the key challenge for everyone in this room. This report cannot just sit on a website. We need to deliver on this action. It lays out. So we urge you to engage with it and work with your partners and governments to implement its fundings. We now have a clear path to $1.3 trillion. There are no excuses to failure to deliver. And we will work with you all to make this happen. I thank you. Obrigado.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. I must say congratulations on delivering one of the best COPs last year in Azerbaijan, Baku. It was such a cultural immersion, and it led to now where we are today. Well, help me in introducing Andre Schneider, who is the World Climate Foundation's chairperson, and he will be introducing the Executive Secretary of the State of Para onto the stage. Welcome, Andre.
Thank you very much. A little correction, actually it's the Executive Secretary of the COP30, which I must say is probably not a job I would like to have, but I would like to invite him here on the stage and actually thank him wholeheartedly for this excellent way how we have been welcomed here in Belém, allowing us to hold a COP in the Amazon, yes please, Amazon Delta, and also for all they're doing here, that this is going to be one of the most outstanding COPs. So thank you very much to be with us, and the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody, distinguished guests, and I would like to thank first the World Climate Foundation, especially Flora, that is being a very good partner during this time. The mayor of the city, Mr. Igor Armando, my boss, was supposed to be here, but he have a lot of commitments and agendas, so I'm here to talk in his name, and so I didn't have the time to prepare my speech. I make some bullet points here, and I will talk with my heart. That is the moment that we are expecting. So my heart is not so connected with my brain these last days. So that is the motive that I will excuse me for talking Portuguese, and I ask you all to put your translation radios, please. Bom dia novamente a todos.
Good morning once again, all. This is a momentous occasion for us, and first and foremost, I'd like to welcome all of you. And in order for this day to happen, many people had to do very hard work, and many people even rooted against us, right? But we're here, and it's happening. The COP in the Amazon, the COP in Brazil is happening with challenges, with problems, but this is not unlike any other big event that happens anywhere else in the world. And in order for this day to happen, a huge task force was created between the municipal, state, and federal government, and thousands of Brazilians and citizens of Pará and of Belém were anxiously waiting for this moment, because now we are being seen. And never before I could have imagined that I would be here talking to such a diverse audience and to be in an event like this. And this means that the time has come for us to be seen. Perhaps this is the moment, the Amazon COP is the moment for the necessary reparation. I have been saying for 11 months, ever since Mayor Igor took over the local government of Belém, that we have been working in this task force many fingers were being pointed and few hands were being offered to help us. And we need to have a partnership between the north part of the country and the global south. And you now can see us. You can see us in the flash. And your poem was beautiful, but it could not be understood like I heard in the last few days in a mission that we did with the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, the representative of the C40, and they told me, I always heard about Belém and the Amazon, but I wouldn't have understood if I never came here. People need to be here to understand what is the Amazon, because it's not just about satellite images. The Amazon is not just Brazil. Belém presided over, until a few days ago, the Amazon Cities Forum that gathers the 8 Amazonian countries. Over 45 cities are part of that movement. And when I'm speaking here, I also carry the responsibility of first speaking on behalf of the Belém citizens, but also in the name of the 8 countries that make up the Amazon that were seen so far only through satellite images. And people thought they were just forests. And I'd also like to remind you of something that the governor of the state mentioned in the preparation for COP and also in the Bonn conference, because we were often asked and questioned about the capacity of the city. People asked if they had to wear special boots to walk around the city, if there would be alligators in the streets. But now you can see that there's people here, that there's an urban life in the Amazon, that over 70% of the people live in cities. We often discuss the climate issues and their emergency, but the implementation, which is what this COP is talking about, happens in the cities. So without shadow of a doubt, this is the COP where the subnational issues, and here I mentioned all of the organizations that represent these issues, they're taking to the presidency the need for implementation, local implementation, because the distribution anywhere in the world to cities and municipalities is very disloyal and it's very costly. Belém has over 1.5 million inhabitants, but it still doesn't receive enough financing. Our climate action plan carried out with the IDB shows that over 50% of the emissions come from public transportation. So how can a municipality like Belém electrify its fleet if we don't have the international support from international banks and organizations? This city, which is where I live and have lived for 39 years, I was born and raised here, where I'm raising my 3 children that I haven't seen for a while, actually, is a city that I don't know if I'll be able to remain living in until 2050, because I see, and many of you can see, that we need to always use fans here and it's very hot, but it may become even worse. It may become a place where no one can live anymore until 2015. If the studies become true, perhaps until 2015, my son will no longer be able to live in his home state because it will be impossible to live here. It will be too hot. Belém has over 40 islands composing Belém. Over 45,000 people live in these islands. Children who take boats to go to school in the morning. Children who get their livelihoods on what we call bioeconomy, but for them it's their livelihood. So I hope that this can be the implementation COP, because you can all see up close now what life is like here. So I hope the discussions can be implemented, and with all due respect to the Baku COP, but I hope that Belém can be an implementation landmark and that the results of the agenda can be achieved, and may Belém become an unforgettable COP, and most of all, the one that has reached the results that we expect for the world. So welcome everyone to the capital of the Amazon, and currently the capital of Brazil, and the capital of the world when it comes to the climate. And I hope that you're all feeling very welcome. I think you are, because we are very welcoming people. And may you leave here understanding that this place is not just about forests. We have people here, capable people, and people who are willing to implement climate action, and have everyone have a wonderful event, a wonderful COP, and enjoy Berlin. Thank you.